Hey everyone, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super Profile by Attack on Productions. I forgot who I worked for there for a second, and yeah. So I didn't really know what to do from this set. We've, I think everything's been seen. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I thought I'd revisit one of my older favorites, just from set 7. So not too far gone, but definitely a little bit of support recently from promos and things like that. So I wanted to revisit Zamasu and Goku Black. The leader on its front side is very simply, when this card attacks, look at the top 5 cards. You grab a blue or yellow Goku Black or Zamasu card among them, add it to your hand, shuffle the rest back, and that's it. So you don't get to search out your non-Zamasu or Goku Black cards, or you don't even get a generic draw. So what you draw is what you draw, what you search is what you search out. His awakened condition is kind of different. Once your opponent has 3 energy, you get to draw 1 card, and then restand 1 of your energy, then flip it over. On the back side, this guy does a lot. On the top side, when he attacks, you look at the top 5, find a blue or yellow Zamasu or Goku Black, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. Downside, when he attacks the leader, he loses 5. When he attacks the leader card, he loses 5,000. Activate main. If your opponent has 8 or more energy, you're going to crit 4 cards from their life. Usually you want to try to get your opponent down to 4, so you just have to activate that once. A little bit of resource denial. If your opponent decides to crit themselves down to get resources, you can also just go for game the old-fashioned way. His 4th and last effect is an activate main. Once per turn, you pay 1 energy, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and return it to its owner's hand. Very rarely use that, but it is an option moving forward. So just so you know that, this is the leader that we're going for. I think it's pretty clear right now as to the win strategy for this deck. I do love this leader. I think it's amazing. It's also worth mentioning that the set, I think it was set 3. The set 3 Fuse Zamasu leader is also an incredible leader, but just instant loses to stuff like Frieza and Cooler, whereas this guy has a little bit more of a chance getting through. Not much, not great, but just a little bit more. So I'm going to kind of, I usually do my deck profiles based on battle cards, then extra cards, but this deck is a lot of negate and a lot of reactionary. So I figured I'd go through that stuff first. Starting out, we've got 3 Flying Nimbus. Everyone knows Flying Nimbus, tried and true. It's trusty. You could easily use Light Bullet in this deck, though I think it's worth keeping your blockers standing in this deck and not having to do that and just discard a yellow card. There's plenty of targets. So, 3 Flying Nimbus, 4 clogs a little much, 3 gets you through just fine. So, got that. Moving on to the next negate. You could probably guess it, but 4 Dimension Magic. We can use this to take from our life, to pay its cost to restand 2 blue energy, or we can just pay it to restand 2 energy. It's pretty much staple with a blue leader. If you're running a blue leader and you're not running Dimension Magic, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Next on the negates is the new Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black Divine Prosperity. This was one of the cards that came out of the Championship 2020 packs, as you can see. This card is interesting and it adds a lot of versatility to the deck that it didn't have before. So it's a counterattack, pay 2. When you play this card from your hand during your opponent's turn, choose 1. If your opponent has 3 or less energy, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, place it in their energy in rest mode. If your opponent has 2 or more energy, choose up to 2 of your blue energy and switch them back to active mode. So both are active on turn 2 usually. The second effect is active all the time. So this is going to be a great way to just get a free negate out there. Once you have mass replication out, he's a play 1, play a blocker. Plus he restands 2 of your energy at the same time, and there's a way to kind of recur him in this deck that I love. And this is just a great card to negate off of as well. It's fantastic. It's a fusion target. I think 4 is too much, but at a 2 of, I love what he offers the deck. And it gets your opponent for decks that only have to charge 2 energy. It helps you get into pushing them up the chain a little bit further. So definitely love this card. Out of 3 of, it's worth what the price point's at, even if it's not particularly meta relevant right now. Next is Fuse Zamasu the Cunning. This was another card that came out of set 7. Just another fantastic pay 2, negate the attack, play this card. Indestructible, has Aegis, so you can discard a blue-yellow on your opponent's attack to restand 2 of your energy. His energy cost is reduced by 2 during your opponent's turn. It's just another fantastic card to have. Aegis is always a great effect in this deck because you want to have free energy. So if you had to, you've only got 2 open energy, play this, use Aegis. You've negated, essentially use no resources except for the multicolor card in your hand. 4 is a bit clunky, but 3 is just about right. I love this card. I might consider dropping this guy down, but he works incredibly well in the deck. Next, moving into 2 Frost Deadly Poison, absolute best counterplay in the game right now. I really heavily debated moving this up to 3. If I were to move it up to 3, I'd probably drop one of these guys in favor of a third one. I just think that that's a worthwhile trade. For those of you who don't know, Frost Deadly Poison is a 3-cost specific blue-yellow counterplay. The card your opponent is playing is played in rest mode with its skills negated. Then you draw 1 card. Then, if your life is 3 or less, choose one of your blue or yellow energy and switch them to active mode. So absolutely best card in the game. It stops your opponent's winning plays as long as they don't have deflect. It's just a fantastic card. So Frost Deadly Poison, 2 of, could very well argue for a 3 of. The other kind of reactionary card in the deck is 2 Champa the Trickster. This guy's equally as good, especially against stuff like the new 5-drop Frieza that plays itself every time it swings. It gets to neg everything on the field, and it's just a really hard card to get around. Champa the Trickster will just rest mode him, prevent him from being able to swing, and you get to draw a card. So Champa's incredibly good. Could easily argue to play a third of this if Frost Deadly Poison isn't your jam. Champa the Trickster might be your jam. So you could easily play 2 or 3 of these as well. Kind of getting into the Zamasu portion of the deck, we do play 2 of Zamasu the Mastermind. These are free plays when you have a Goku Black in your battle or leader area. On the front side, the leader is always a Goku Black. On the back side, it's important to note that the leader is just a fused Zamasu. Or Zamasu, really. So you won't get it there, but you have plenty of Goku Blacks in the deck to play and recur off of with this. And this is really, I will almost exclusively hold on to these when I need to go into the fusion play, or if I want to make my opponent bait out a counter play to get rid of this to lock me out of the fusion. So 2 of these, love it. 4 is too much. 2 is about perfect, considering you can search the deck for them. Another new piece of technology in the deck is Fuse Zamasu the Plot Thickens. This guy has a 20,000 attack power. Indestructible. He can't attack leader cards. That's probably the big the big downside to this deck, or this card. Sorry, I don't know English. I just learned it this week. Activate main once per turn. This is why we're playing him. You choose 1 Zamasu or Goku Black in your battle area. Return it to its owner's hand. Then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. So when I talked about recurring the 2-drop negate, that guy, you can negate with Fuse Zamasu on the field during your turn. If your opponent doesn't get rid of the Goku Black, bring the Goku Black back to your hand and have another negate in your hand if you need it. It's just a great way to do that. Or the 3-drop Goku Black that makes your opponent check the top card of their deck. If it's a battle card, they energy. If otherwise, they add it to their hand. It's great for sending back the 4-drop that chooses one of your opponent's battle cards and rests it, puts it in their energy and rest mode and plays you a shadow token. Just a fantastic card to get your plays off of multiple times. Like if you're just finding yourself absolutely starved for Goku Blacks and you have only 1 or 2, this guy will let you play them multiple times over and over again, and can become quite a headache for your opponent, and just another makes your opponent waste additional resources just to get rid of him, whereas they might leave your blockers. So fantastic in his own right. He is a 3-drop to play. Next, we're playing 2 mass replications. I've considered dropping this to 1, but then I think about games where both are in my life, or 1 is in my life, and I'm like, crap, if I was only running 1, I'd have to wait, until my opponent decides to damn near kill me to be able to find a mass replication. So we are running 2 just in the off chance that 1 is not stuck in the life if 1 is. So mass replication's effect, it's a field card. All of your shadow tokens gain blocker. Once per turn, when you play a Goku Black card to your battle area, and your leader is a Goku Black or Zamasu, which on both sides it is, you play 1 shadow token. So a lot of the Goku Blacks have the effect of playing a shadow token. A couple of the Zamasu, none of the Zamasu play shadow tokens, but a couple of the Goku Blacks do. So the whole idea is to just load the field with shadow tokens. Things that target cards with an energy cost less than X don't affect shadow tokens, don't affect tokens, because tokens don't have an energy level. So we want to find this. We want to get this on board by turn 2. At turn 3 at the absolute latest. If you're waiting till turn 3 to get mass replication on the field, you're seriously behind the curve. So this as soon as possible. And maybe contradicting myself a bit there, but I only play 2 of Goku Black, Evil's Accomplice. He has Deflect. Choose 1 card in your hand, place it in the drop area, then choose 1 mass replication from your deck, activate it, then shuffle your deck. So for to play 2, you get to just find a mass replication if you don't draw into it. Didn't want to play lots of these. They're not useful beyond getting the mass replication set up, so I didn't want them clogging my hand. They're, of course, a free 5,000, so you could run 3 of them, but I just don't think that you need 4. You just hard mulligan for mass replication and or Goku Black in the beginning. So 2 of those. And also, this is getting into the Goku Black portion of the deck. We've got 2 of Goku Black, Countdown to Destruction. When you have 5 or more energy, you get to play this guy for free. When you play this card and your leader is a Goku Black or Zamasu, which it is, you draw 1 card and then you can't play this card for the duration of the turn. So it's basically just a free draw 1, 10,000 body on the field. Not great, not particularly well, but it is a free play with a free shadow token attached to it. So at a 2 of, it's not too bad. It's not really ever clogging my field or my hand. Then we do run 4 of the Nightmare Scythe Goku Black. This card has Barrier. When you play this card and your leader card is a Zamasu or Goku Black, you play 2 shadow tokens with master replication that becomes 3 shadow tokens, which is just great value, especially if you can send this guy back to your hand just to play him again next turn. Or if you have enough energy, just play him again, and then you've got 5 shadow tokens off of the energy that turn. It's whatever you want to do, but this is probably one of the best cards in the deck, minus the ramping cards that are in this. So we do run 4 of those, staple in this. I think it's amazing. We do run 4 of the Goku Black, the Replicator. When you play this card, your leader is a Zamasu or Goku Black. You choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards, place it in its opponent's energy and rest mode, then play 1 shadow token. If your opponent has 3 or less energy, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. If it's a battle card, place it in your opponent's energy and rest mode. Otherwise, draw 1 card, then your opponent shuffles their deck. So this is really awesome. You get to either draw or your opponent charges another card, but only if they're at 3 or less energy. And this is specifically for when they're trying to slow roll their energy ramp. But on this guy, it just gets rid of problem cards that don't have barrier. So a Frieza or something with double strike that's just running over your field, you can use this and just get rid of them. And plus, being able to reuse the effect if you're not able to find them over and over again is amazing. 4 of for sure. The other Goku Black that we play at a 4 of is the Super Saiyan Rose Goku, Inviting the Darkness. This guy is probably the staple in the deck. When you play this card and your leader is a Goku Black or Zamasu, add the top card of your deck to your energy. At the same time, it triggers this auto. At the end of your opponent's next turn, they're going to reveal the top card of their deck. If it's a battle card, it gets placed in your opponent's energy and rest mode. Otherwise, draw 1. Then your opponent shuffles their deck. Absolutely amazing. You get to draw 1 if it fails. It's a Uh, this is a good way to ramp them up. It's slightly cheaper than the Goku Black the Replicator. It doesn't require your opponent to have a battle card on board, but most decks right now, with the exception of Universe 7, are primarily battle cards and not as much extra cards. I know some variants of the Goku Surge deck are exceptions to that rule, but generally this is going to hit more often than it's going to miss. So for sure, 4 of those, sorry. Super combos, we're running the Elegant Assistance Hellas. What can I say? If you're running a God Leader, this is the best card to play. Sucks getting this card accidentally charged sometimes, or having to charge this card, or something like that where you have to do it. Super combo, when you're at 4 or less, draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card if your leader's a god, which he is, so no need to explain, super good. Then, kind of tech, we're running 3 of the Great Ape Son Goku Saiyan Instincts. There's a lot of times where you don't need to spend all of your energy in this deck and you just want to draw because, again, your leader doesn't get generic draws, it searches for Goku Blacks or Zamasu. So having just generic draws to get into other extra cards is always a good thing. So we do run 3 of those. 4 is probably too much, but 3 seems to be good. We run 2 of the Fused Zamasu Divine Providence. This is a 6 cost Union Potara with a Zamasu and Goku Black. When you play this card, your opponent reveals their hand, you choose 2 of them and charge them in their energy in rest mode. This is going to usually be the thing that seals the game for you. You play this, your opponent charges 2 cards from their hand, you activate Leader's Effect, crit 4 life, and win the game. He's indestructible for 30,000, so if you have to swing with him, it's not bad either. 3, I was running this at 3, definitely clogs too much at 3. 2, you see it just enough. I'm even considering going down to 1 on this, because really, if you can see 1, you're in good shape. You don't need to see multiple of these per game to win. So 2 of those. And last is the Power of Potara, Vegeta Kefla Zamasu. This is more of a flex than an actual need to be. Charge this thing and your opponent's like, what the hell, you just charged a secret rare. Or drop this thing, get your 4 draws. It's a triple strike. Your opponent's going to do what they can to get through it. You rest mode your opponent's energy. There's just nothing about this that's bad. It's not a great ender, but it definitely helps you get through to get to your negates and things like that you might quintessentially need late game to survive. So spending 5 energy on this definitely is not a bad idea. And if my math is correct, that's the full 50. Sorry I kind of rambled on this one. I don't think I've ever profiled my Zamasu deck. Definitely one of my favorite kind of roguey decks. It really didn't fare well last format with the Android 21 running rampant and just getting rid of all the mono blue and yellow energy that you had to charge. But I feel like now that Android 21 is a little less prevalent, this deck is good. It can just stand up. It does struggle a little bit with turn 2 Han, as I think most things do, but it does incredibly well against stuff like Jiren. It does incredibly well against cards, against a lot of the decks in the format. Hachiyak, you can play against Hachiyak in this deck. You can play against other cards that want to ramp and get their energy hella high. A lot of decks right now want to get their energy to that 4 or 5 range, plus your energy manipulation. It's super easy to get a deck to 8 to get the crit off. It's just getting them to 4 life that might be the tricky part. But if you like this profile, leave us a comment below. Make sure you subscribe above. We're almost 800. Yeah. Which is an excellent milestone for us. We're going to start pushing for that 1,000 here soon. If there's something that you guys want to see on the channel, make sure to like it up, comment below. We'll literally do anything. We're whores for the likes. But as always, my name is Fluff, and you guys should fluff out.